Evening all. Well, I want to do my little take on the Coventry Catholic School March for Life protest incident that's doing the news rounds now. There are plenty of fantastic commentators who are covering this story. I want to go into something a little bit different, give my own take rather than repeating theirs. So this is really about the tactics of the progressive left here, and what they do is that they're focusing once again their anger onto inanimate objects, specifically the MAGA hat worn by the Covington high school boy who was most prominent in that. I think his name's Nick Sandman. Some other boys wearing the MAGA hat as well. And why the left have focused in on that? Now, initially, what happens is the left put out the story, I think a single photograph and some edited footage that made it look like Nathan Phillips, this elderly Native American man, was on a peaceful protest. He was surrounded by these white Catholic high school boys who were chanting racist abuse at him, blocking his way, surrounding him, intimidating him, and chanting things like "build the wall." Then the unedited video footage taken from different angles emerged, and it completely undermined Phillips's story. Likewise, Phillips has claimed that he was a Vietnam War veteran, have subsequently been exposed as falsehood. So when the footage came out, it showed that a lot of other things were going on. There was a Black Hebrew group that was hurling racist and homophobic abuse at the high school boys. Phillips wasn't alone. He had a cohort next to him who was again yelling abuse at the boys. The main boy, Nick Salmon, said nothing. He was just stood there. He had that smirk, which a lot of people have interpreted as a smug smirk of white supremacy. To me, it looks like a bemused grin. Okay, I'm in the middle of this thing. This guy's come up to me with his drum. We've got that group over there hurling abuse. Everything's going on around me. Just stand here and smile. Just get through this whatever way you can. That's what it looked like to me. It may look to you like it was smug white supremacy. To me, it looked like a boy who's bemused at what's going on all around him. It's a crazy situation. He's just trying to get through it whatever way he can. So this is all subjective, though, isn't it? But so what happened was that the unedited video footage undermined the initial claim of the progressive left. And so what happened was that a number of mainstream media journalists and reporters and anchors kind of went back and said, we got it wrong. Jake Tapper did this, SE Cup did it as well, The Atlantic did it as well, admitting, we wanted to believe the initial images and we went with it, and it was a mistake because now that more evidence has come to light, our initial assessment was wrong. We're going to have to reassess what we said and move on in a professional manner. This is absolutely right. This is what reporters should do. If they get things wrong, if anybody gets things wrong, you should correct yourself openly and be open to new evidence and new facts and information that comes in. Now, because Tapper and Cup have broken ranks, CNN have now moved in Cuomo to take over the story. And now the narrative is, well, forget the lies of Nathan Phillips, forget the racist and homophobic abuse that the Black Hebrew group did, forget the fact that Phillips had a cohort who was yelling racist abuse at the boys. Forget all that. Forget all the evidence. The only thing you should be concentrating on is the MAGA hat. So now the MAGA hat becomes the symbol of white supremacy. It's the equivalent of a Ku Klux Klan hood. It's the equivalent of the swastika. So it's the left putting morality onto an inanimate object in order to demonize people or a group. This is a tactic they used fairly successfully with firearms. Now, there's 4 reasons to own and use a firearm. The first is self-defense. The second is sports. The third is hunting. And the fourth is murdering people. That one is the crime. But what the left do is that they take that fourth one, the crime of murdering people, and then they put a moral. They use that to put it morally onto the other three groups. So the other three groups are tainted by the fourth group. That's what the left try and do. They put forward this story that if you have the law-abiding reasons for owning guns, that's no different from the illegal and immoral reason for using a gun. Okay, and they've done the same here with the hat. There's a number of reasons why somebody might own or wear a MAGA hat, from kind of understandable reasons, like people feel that America's gone the wrong way in the last 20 years, getting involved in foreign military expeditions that they didn't agree with, running down American industry, being in a economic imbalance with China because of globalist policy. So a MAGA hat is a statement against these understandable things. But then there's people who might wear a MAGA hat because they are genuinely white supremacists, that they're genuinely in with the Ku Klux Klan, or that they are neo-Nazis. So you got that group over there. But what the left do is that they're going to take the morality of the worst and put it onto the people who have legitimate and who are basically moral people, good, decent people, but you're taking the worst and putting it onto the best. This is a crude way of saying it. So that's what's happening here. And the trick is, and this is what Cuomo's doing, and other people on social media, people who call themselves activists, commentators, journalists, and they're going, no, look at me. No, look, don't look at the evidence. Don't look at Nathan Phillips's lies. Don't look at the racism and homophobia of the Black Hebrews. Don't look at all the evidence and facts that are in front of you. Just focus on what I'm saying. Focus on what I'm telling you. If you wear a MAGA hat, you are no different from the Ku Klux Klan. So this is the tactic. And why are they doing this? Why is this a tactic they're using? Well, it's really to get at three groups of people. The first group of people that they're trying to get to is anybody on the anti-left. So what happens is that if you're looking at this evidence of the video footage and saying, well, the Covington Catholic High School boys haven't really done anything that bad or even bad at all, you can say, well, you're in league with the Ku Klux Klan and the Nazis because of the MAGA hat. So it's an attack tactic against the anti-left. It is a rallying call to the centre left. So if what happens is that some of the centre left are breaking ranks, like Tapper, like Cupp. They're saying, well, there's evidence. Okay, I mean, I don't like MAGA. I don't like what it stands for. But looking at the evidence, it's not really a crime, is it? It's not that bad. Maybe isn't it better that we told the truth? And so this tactic from the progressive left is to say, stop it. Right, back in the tribe. Come on, back in the tribe, or we'll call you a Nazi or a white supremacist. So it really is it's an attempt also to get the centre left, who are getting a bit wobbly on this issue and might come over to the side of standing up for truth. It's to get them back into the tiny Overton window. Just go, come on, wake up here. And it's also a tactic against normies. So the normies might wake up one day and just read the story in the paper and go, oh, okay, yeah, there's this story, but then there's that story, and then there's which do I believe? And so it's a bullying tactic. It's a kind of the left trying to slap the normies around and just say, believe us, focus on us, because the rest, anybody who tells you otherwise is a white supremacist and a Nazi. So that's the tactic. Okay, how do we counter the tactic? And is it effective? Well, having a look at the effectiveness, I would say that on the anti-left, it's not been effective at all. The anti-left now, they're pretty much immune to being called white supremacists and fascists, falsely accused. So the anti-left are just going, just pack of lies. You guys have lied on this issue more, so we don't care. So the anti-left are kind of robust in their defence on this one. As for the centre-left, well, it might have an effect on people. It hasn't had an effect of whipping the centre-left back into the hard-left line as a way the hard-left would like it. The left are pretty much split on this. There's the diehards, and then there's a centre left trying to drifting towards centre who are going, no, I can't back up this lie. So it hasn't had that much effect. Maybe a few of them have gone back into the hard left Overton window, but some haven't. Tapper hasn't gone back on what he said. So what effect is it having on the normies? Well, again, there's not much shift from the normies. I've just checked into the normie sphere to see what is it. It's not that much of a talking point, and I think the normies are just kind of going really. So it's not having an effect as much as like. I think that they're sticking with the tactic, the hard left. But I don't think it's had the tactical dividends that some of the other recent assaults have had. So it's looking like the left have overplayed their hand. So what is the anti-left response? Well, much like if you know how a magician does a trick, you can call out the magician in front of everybody else by explaining to the audience how the trick works before as the magician is performing the trick. And that's what I think we should be doing here. We've got the original video. We know Nathan Phillips is a liar. We know the Black Hebrew group are not a moral group. They are evil and racist and homophobic, and they were the ones that are responsible for most of this. We know what happened. So you can just, so every time the left go, the MAGA hat, you just go, no, your guys were the liars. Why are you defending the liar? Why are you defending the liar? This is what I was doing with this Coles person. He was coming up with all this stuff, refusing to answer about Nathan Phillips. And I just called him out. Why are you defending a liar? Because we know what's happened. And every time he goes, well, the video footage proves that he was the innocent victim, goes, it does no such thing. You're lying. And everybody watching goes, well, yeah, you're lying. So you have to expose the trickery. You have to expose the fakery. You know what they're doing. You know the game they're playing. Right? And so that's how I think you need to go about it. Anyway, that's all for now. Yes, Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. I know. The evils of Tony Blair. I know. My top 5 tanks at Bovington Tank Museum. I know. I'm working on it. Okay. But I'm a busy man these days. So I'll see you all later. Okay. Have a great weekend.